what happens when you cross a tank, a track star, and a cinnamon rug? You get a grizzly bear. And no, this isn't your average teddy bear with rage issues. Grizzlies are among North America's most powerful predators. But what makes them different from other bears? What should you do if you ever see one in the wild? And is it true there's a bear so powerful it's become a legend in Canada's wilderness? Yes, his name is the Boss. Let's step into the rugged world of claws, power, and wild respect. Welcome to Wildlife Lounge, and in today's episode, we're diving deep into one of the most powerful and misunderstood animals on Earth, the grizzly bear. But first, let's meet the grizzly, by name. If your scientific name literally translates to horrible bear, you're not here to play. Grizzlies are a subspecies of the brown bear. Their full name is Ursus arctos horribilis. The horribilis part came from early European explorers who were, let's say, deeply unsettled. But don't let the name fool you. Grizzlies aren't villains. They're just powerful, intelligent animals that demand space and respect. Now that we've named the legend, let's find out where it lives. Grizzlies don't just live in the woods, they own the woods. You'll find them across Alaska, Western Canada, and select US states like Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho. They thrive in dense forests, mountain slopes, river valleys, and alpine meadows. Anywhere remote and full of life, that's grizzly country. In British Columbia's Yoho and Banff national parks, one bear in particular dominates his domain, but we'll get to the boss soon enough. First, let's break down what makes these giants so special. A grizzly's body is like nature's Swiss Army knife. If it were the size of a small car, they've got a powerful shoulder hump made of pure muscle, 4-inch claws that dig like backhoes, and jaws that can crush bones. They can sprint up to 35 miles per hour, climb trees, swim, and sniff out food from over 20 miles away. Whether it's foraging berries or flipping over boulders, every part of a grizzly is made for survival. In other words, they're the forest's demolition crew, and they don't need blueprints. But what does an apex predator even eat? And who dares to mess with one? So what hunts a grizzly? Basically, nothing. Except one creature. Grizzlies are apex predators. Full-grown adults have no natural enemies, unless you count humans, habitat loss, and high-speed traffic. Cubs might fall to wolves or other bears, but adult grizzlies? They're the undisputed heavyweights. As for their diet, picture a living garbage disposal with a preference for organic. They'll happily devour berries, bugs, fish, grass, carrion, and yes, even moose. They famously hunt salmon during spawning season, often waiting at riverbanks to snatch them mid-air. They've even been caught flipping over elk carcasses like they were couch cushions. But before you think they're unstoppable, remember this: the most powerful grizzly in Canada almost didn't survive a train hit. We'll get to the boss soon. Trust me, you'll want to meet him. But first, let's test your grizzly knowledge with a quick-fire facts blitz. Let's rapid-fire through some grizzly trivia you didn't know you needed. Weight, up to 800 pounds. Alaskan grizzlies hit 1,200 plus, almost as big as my ex-wife's emotional baggage. Height, 8 feet tall when standing. That's NBA plus intimidation. Speed, 35 miles per hour, faster than your Wi-Fi when it matters most. Lifespan, 20 to 25 years. Smell, over 20 miles. They could smell your granola bar before you even packed it. Cubs, 1 to 4 per litter, raised for about 2 years. Bite force, 1,000 psi, stronger than your gym buddy's ego. Hibernation, 5 to 7 months, but not full sleep. We'll explain that in a minute. Quick challenge. Comment. If you think you could last 10 seconds in the wild with one of these guys, be honest, we're watching. Now the real question, what happens if you see a grizzly in the wild? Here's what to do and what could save your life. You've locked eyes with a grizzly. It's not charging yet. What now? Stay calm. Speak softly and steadily. Let it know you're a human, not a threat. Slowly back away. No sudden movements. Make yourself look bigger. Raise your arms. Hold your jacket open. Bear spray. Use it only if the bear comes within 30 feet. Most grizzlies don't want to fight. They want space. WildLifeLounge. PSA. We never recommend going out to look for grizzlies. That's not brave, it's reckless. Respect wildlife, stay safe, and remember, nature isn't your content farm. But what if the bear doesn't back off, or you panic? The next segment could save your life. Here's a fun list of things people do that grizzlies really don't like. Try not to do any of them. Don't run. You'll trigger its chase instinct. And guess what? You're slower. Don't scream. It may interpret this as a threat or prey response. Don't play dead unless it's a defensive attack and you've already been knocked down. Don't climb a tree. Yes, they can follow. Don't approach for a selfie. No, seriously. People have done that. Don't be that headline. WildLifeLounge reminder. We never advise seeking out wild animals. Grizzlies aren't here to entertain. They're trying to survive. Respect their space, respect the wild, and most importantly, stay alive. Now let's help you spot the difference between bear species so you don't panic at the wrong fuzzball. Mistaking a black bear for a grizzly could turn a calm hike into a very bad day. Here's how to tell the difference before it's too late. Forget color. It means nothing. Black bears can be brown and grizzlies can be blonde, so focus on features. Grizzly bears, shoulder hump, a giant muscle-packed lump, concave or dish-shaped face, short rounded ears, long straight digging claws. Black bears, no hump, straighter dog-like profile, pointed ears, short curved claws built for climbing. Why it matters, you never play dead with a black bear, but that might be your last-ditch move with a grizzly. Know your bear and you might just walk away. But even the toughest bears can't survive without help. Let's talk conservation. Grizzlies aren't endangered because of other predators. They're in danger because of us. From urban expansion to shrinking wild spaces, grizzlies have lost nearly half their historic range. Every new highway, logging road, and campsite chips away at their territory. But there's hope, and it's working. Yellowstone to Yukon, Y2Y, creating wildlife corridors across borders. Grizzly Bear Foundation, focused on education, research, and protection. Bear Smart programs, helping communities live safely alongside bears. Bear-proof containers and wildlife crossings, keeping bears safe and wild. What you can do, support these organizations, practice safe camping and food storage, educate others about coexistence, respect trail closures and wild zones. Conservation isn't just about saving bears, it's about preserving balance. But even when nature is out of balance, the grizzly has one final advantage: raw, overwhelming power. If nature had a boss fight, this would be the final level. Here's why a grizzly is more than just muscle. It's a wilderness war machine. Claws, up to 4 inches long, used for digging, tearing and swiping. One hit can shatter bones. Bite force, over 1,000 psi, on par with a lion and enough to bite through thick bone. Shoulder hump, a muscle engine that powers every move, from digging to bulldozing. Speed and endurance, 35 miles per hour in a sprint, and they can keep going. Armor, dense fur and thick fat, offer protection from bites, scratches, and brutal winter cold. This isn't just strength, it's survival engineering perfected by evolution. But how do they endure months without food or water? Let's talk torpor. No, grizzlies don't sleep through winter like a cartoon. What they enter is called torpor, and it's way more intense. In torpor, their heart rate drops from 80 beats per minute to as low as 8. Breathing slows to just 1 to 2 breaths per minute. Metabolism tanks. No eating, drinking, peeing, or pooping for months. Body temperature drops, but not dangerously. But, and this is key, they're still aware and can wake up if disturbed. And here's the wildest part. Female grizzlies give birth while in torpor and nurse cubs through the entire winter, asleep. Torpor is the ultimate power nap. Low energy, high alert, and perfectly adapted for survival. Now that we've seen their chill mode, let's see how they stack up in a fight. Everyone loves a wild showdown, so let's get into it. Grizzly versus gorilla. The gorilla's got strength, smarts and heart, but the grizzly wins with size, claws and a bite that crushes bones. It's not even close. Grizzly versus Siberian tiger. Now this is a matchup. Tigers are stealth assassins, quick, agile, lethal, but grizzlies are tanks. Most likely, a close battle, but the grizzly takes it if the terrain favors brute force. Grizzly versus Kodiak bear, the only fair fight. Kodiaks are coastal cousins, bigger on average, but same raw power. If these two clash, it's a coin toss, and the forest goes silent. But no fight has made more headlines than the real-life legend still roaming Canada. Let's meet the boss. And now, the moment we've all been waiting for. Cue the cinematic drums. Let us introduce you to Bear 122, better known as the boss. This isn't just any grizzly. He's the apex of apex predators, the heavyweight champion of Banff National Park. The bear who doesn't just survive in the wild, he dominates it. We're talking about a male grizzly tipping the scales at over 600 pounds, roaming across railways, highways, rivers and towns like it's all part of his kingdom. But here's the thing, getting footage of the boss is nearly impossible. Why? First, sightings are incredibly rare. Even veteran park rangers have only glimpsed him a handful of times. He moves silently, travels huge distances, and rarely lingers long enough for anyone to pull out a camera. Second, most of the footage that does exist is protected under copyright, captured by professional filmmakers, news crews, or wildlife photographers. For content creators like us, that means sharing his story is often limited to stills or public domain alternatives, which honestly just makes the legend grow stronger. And if his mythos wasn't already off the charts, the boss once got hit by a freight train and lived. It happened back in 2015. A cargo train tore through a section of Banff where wildlife often crosses. Any normal bear would have been killed instantly, but not the boss. Days later, park officials spotted him again, walking with a limp, yes, but still very much alive, and still ruling the land. He's fathered the majority of cubs in the area. He's outlived rivals. He's survived collisions that should have ended him. The boss isn't just a bear, he's a living Canadian legend. Now let's wrap up with one last test, your grizzly IQ. All right, wildlife warriors, time for the final challenge. Which of these is not true about grizzly bears? A. They run 35 miles per hour. B. They hibernate in deep unconscious sleep for months. C. They eat both plants and meat. Or D. They have a shoulder hump. Drop your answer in the comments. We'll like your comment if you got it right. And tell us below, Could you stay calm during a grizzly stare down? Who should we cover next in a Wildlife Lounge deep dive? Thank you for watching, liking, commenting and subscribing. We hope you enjoyed this episode of Wildlife Lounge. Stay curious, stay wild, and we'll see you next time.